It is time for a little star up, star down as the Cowboys get the 26-24 victory. Star up, star down here on 105 to the Fan. And I will start here, Bobby.
Hit me.
I think it's very, very difficult to have a star up, star down that does not start with a star up for CeeDee Lamb.
Boy, he was good. He was really, really good.
That dude is... Look, he's just a monster. He's an absolute monster, and he's tough as hell.
Man, he is, and that's the thing. He's somebody who he's been hurt so many different times over his career and I don't think people are aware of it, or in terms of just banged up, dealing with pain, dealing with injury management, whatever else. But he is toughing it out right now because this is as hurt as he's been all year, the last few weeks, and he's playing as good as he's played all year the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm with you. I think CeeDee Lamb's been absolutely fantastic. And this yesterday was, all of it in the first half, basically. He had 6 for 100 right there at halftime. And that's kind of been the calling card for him a little bit this year has been.
In the second half?
Just like he's not involved nearly as much in the second half, especially since Dak went down. Yesterday you take the fact that I didn't realize this either. Did you know he was 8 for 105 in the first half last week? 6 for 100 this week. He finishes with 7 for 105, so he has 1 catch and 5 yards in the second half. And then last week against Carolina, he finished with 1 catch in the second half for 11 yards.
Wow.
So he's got 100-yard games in the first half the last 2 weeks, and then he gets basically nothing in the second half. But absolutely star up, just the way that he was playing, the way that he has toughed things out. And he talked about it after the game, that this should quiet any discussion of all CD cared about was the money when he was out there, holding out. All he cared about is money. And he's like, of course it's about money. We play this game for our living. That's how we make money. But he's like, I hope everybody sees, I love football. I'm going to be out there because I love football and I love my teammates, and that's what I want to do. And I think he deserves a ton of credit. And he is, I think, silenced a lot of questions that were out there, or a lot of criticisms that were out there about his level of play.
You have to. He's tremendous. As people have said on social media last night, they need more guys like him. This is a meaningless football game, and he is out there on what appears to be like a broken shoulder.
Yeah, dude, he's hurt.
He's hurt, man. He's hurt. Like the guy, he got tackled, he just couldn't get up.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't have a problem with him not having the greatest second halves of these games lately, because you get beat up in the first half, you just can't go.
No, and he's opening things up for other guys. So, yeah, I'm with you. Star up for CeeDee Lamb. I had my very top one was not even my top star up, Chop, wasn't even a player. This was my top star up.
Mayfield in the gun. 5-man rush. Here's Lewis. Sacked it. He's not down yet. And he somehow threw it to White, who caught it. And then Hooker takes him down. And Bland comes away with the ball, but they got it. No,
he's got it. Bland's got it.
Oh, Bland comes away with the ball.
Physicality. That's number one for me.
That's what you're going with.
That's what I was going.
Okay,
I was looking at her. I was looking at the plays. I was like, which of these actually shows physicality? No, this was a physical football game from the Cowboys. And I think defensively, offensively, they went out there and they were attempting to punish the Buccaneers consistently. It's not very often we've been able to say about a Mike McCarthy team that they're the more physical football team. It's just not their style of play. But they were yesterday, and it looked like a concerted effort. The way that they played in the trenches, the toughness that they showed, even running the ball as ineffectively as they did, I thought that overall the entire team on both sides of the ball showed physical mindset, toughness, and that they came with kind of punchy in the mouth mindset. And I was really impressed by that, especially because for them to show that kind of physicality and that kind of toughness when there's not even stakes on the line really anymore is impressive, because it just shows that that was something that they were capable of even when there's nothing on the line. So star up for physicality, and then at the same time, with me talking about running the ball there, I will say star down Rico Dowdle, because I think we've already established he was not very good yesterday.
No, he was not very good at all.
Just not an impressive performance.
Nope, not a good performance. He also didn't get many holes to run through.
No,
but very good.
No, Tampa Bay did a good job disrupting things in the trenches in the run game. Their defensive line played well, and it was tough all night for the Cowboys. I think that 6-yard run that we talked about, Dowdle, that was like his first carry or second carry. I mean, everything after that, they just completely tightened up and closed things off.
You mentioned the physicality. That Tampa's, pass. I won't say wide receivers because they're tight ends thrown in there too. Their pass catchers were hearing footsteps all night.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That,
Donovan Wilson lighting them up. There were a couple different times. Jordan Lewis had a couple of different big hits. They were looking to intimidate their receivers.
There were several hard hits where it got to the point where every time Tampa caught the ball, their receivers were bracing for impact, but also it was like, okay, are they going to hang on to this ball or not? It just felt like the entire second half, it was just in their head. And to that, also the defensive front. I mean, Baker was dancing at the end.
Oh, yeah.
He was not comfortable back there, and it showed. I mean, they really struggled to put together drives. They were pinned back an awful lot. I mean, it felt like the entire fourth quarter they started inside their own 10. And Baker was just dancing. I mean, he had to dance. He had nothing from a time perspective to throw.
Yeah,
and he's tough as nails.
Yeah, you've got this is from last night. Micah Parsons, 6 quarterback pressures. Maris Leafau, 5 quarterback pressures. Osa Odigizua, 4. Marshawn Nealand, 3. You also Chauncey Golston, Jordan Lewis, Nick Vigil. They were getting consistent pressure in this game, and Tampa Bay did not know how to deal with that. And so I think star up for the pass rush in general, too. I think that was a big one right there. Also, star up, we'll do cut 2 here, Chris Strong. Star up to this gentleman.
In the Tampa red zone. Snap back, standing, time, thrown in the end zone. That's a touchdown right to the post. Jalen Tolbert got free, and Rush dimed him.
No, not Jalen Tolbert. Cooper Rush. He gets the star up. Jalen Tolbert still has not been great. But Cooper Rush, best game we've seen from him, are we going to say arguably ever? Is that his best start?
I feel like he had a Minnesota game that was really good.
He had the Minnesota game. The only reason why I would pull back on the Minnesota game was that had that miracle Amari Cooper bobble catch on the sideline that was off target. Played solid, but ultimately there were some chunk plays. This was the one where I felt like most consistently Cooper Rush was an advantage for you. Cooper Rush was playing in rhythm and in tempo and just completely comfortable and in command of the offense. You weren't here last week, but
I was not.
No, you were on vacation, a scheduled vacation. You were getting a surgery done. It's not like you were just tired from the show the day before. So that was fine. Right. That was cool. Is that one of the things that Jerry talked about last week when we interviewed him was he was giving a ton of credit, and then McCarthy did on Friday too, a ton of credit to Cooper Rush for the way that he's getting them into the right play at the line of scrimmage, like checking them in and knowing pre-snap what the defense is throwing at him. So I thought yesterday, complete command of the offense, the best he's looked all year, and really in control.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a big star up for Cooper Rush, who I gave a star down to last week, and Sean objected to, but I didn't care.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't think he was very good against the Panthers.
Yeah, look, I thought he was really good yesterday. I want to stop this, okay, because you see this on social media. Would you rather have Cooper Rush or Dak Prescott?
Oh yeah, that's becoming louder.
Now, listen, if you want to sit here and say that you would rather have Cooper Rush at $2 million or Dak Prescott at $60, you can have a reasonable discussion about that. But just in a vacuum, they're not the same.
No.
They're not the same.
And that's Dak was awful this year before he got hurt. He was bad. But whole body of work, no.
If you want to take the contracts into the discussion, and now you get $60 million extra or $55 million extra dollars to spend, you know what? I won't fight you on that one. It's the same idea. It's the same concept. You're basically getting a rookie quarterback deal for a veteran who's seen all the snaps. So, yeah, but the whole, Cooper Rush is better than Dak. No, he's not better than Dak. He's a better value, maybe, but he's not a better player.
I still think that's a little strong. He's been not good most of the time.
You can still, what I'm saying is you can have the discussion.
Sure, it's more of, it doesn't get you laughed off the same way that, is he better than Dak? No, he's not. Yeah, he's not better than Dak.
If you just say, would you rather have Dak at 60 or Cooper at 5, fine. But don't say you'd rather have Cooper over Dak without putting the context of the contract in there. Star up, star down here on 105 through the Fan. I'm gonna make your eyes roll here. I start with the culture, man.
God,
I'm sorry. You can ignore it if you want.
It's a baseline, Chup. They're supposed to play hard.
Oh, absolutely
that is the
not.
requirement
Absolutely
of their
not.
contract.
Absolutely not.
You know what?
The
you know
moment
what? No,
you're
you know why?
supposed to
Because
make the playoffs.
that
The
gets
moment you don't.
that gets people fired for a reason. Your team quitting gets you fired for a reason because it's the bare minimum expectation. It's like you're not even getting guys to show up and do their job. Like, I mean, for instance,
Hey,
that's something
listen.
Sean has to answer for, is that Peyton doesn't work hard and doesn't show up. Like, Sean's got to answer for the quit in Peyton. Like that kind of a thing. So that's the same sort of thing.
No, that's on Peyton. It's not on Sean. It's not on me. It's not on you. It's on Peyton.
I'm just trying to tie back anything I can to Peyton sucks this morning.
Listen, the 49ers have quit on Kyle Shanahan.
Some of them have, I will agree.
And
that's bad.
That's terrible. And like no one's blaming, no one's saying anything about Kyle.
They never quit on Garrett though. Why didn't we just keep extending Garrett forever?
We did keep extending Garrett,
but I mean,
in 10 years.
Why? But when his contract ran out, why didn't he get a new one? They didn't quit on him.
Well, that was like the third. That's like the third
but
time.
they didn't quit on him.
That was the third time.
We've got 5 full seasons of what year did Garrett take over? First full year was 11,
10.
wasn't it?
2010.
2010 took over, but 11 was when he was hired on like full time. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we've got 5 more years, 4 or 5 more years of McCarthy's.
Yeah, I mean, look, did the Eagles quit on Sirianni last year? At the end,
I don't think that was quit. I think they just had toxic infighting, and I think they were distracted. I don't think it was quitting.
All right, fine, but look, there's no toxic. That's a culture thing. That's a culture thing.
It was
you
really.
can roll your eyes at it.
It was really complex. I think what was going on in Philly last year.
You could roll your eyes at it, but the reality is that the players disagree with the people who don't like Mike.
They quit on him in 2020.
That's COVID.
But I mean, they quit on him. That team quit at the end of the year.
Yeah, they did. They did. First year, you don't know them, you don't like them. Who knows? But yeah, it's really hard to
But star
deny.
up for the culture, huh?
I mean, is it a healthy culture?
Can you just say for the culture real quick?
I'm not. You know what? You're okay. Are you Are you denying? Are you denying?
I'm denying. Yeah, I am. I'm denying that means anything. It means you haven't. It means you're not negligent. It does not. It's not a reason for it's not a credit to you. A culture like this is not a winning culture. What happened to the culture earlier in the year? What happened to the culture when you're getting smacked in the mouth at home the first 3 home games? What was that?
I think a lot of that was the Zimmer switch that there was just.
But offensively, it was just a mess of a team too.
It was. Yeah, it was.
So where was that? Where was that?
You're behind the. You're getting blown out. Offenses change.
Why did Zeke have to get benched? Essentially, why did he get team discipline? That's one of your veterans. That doesn't sound like a healthy culture.
Yeah, that's healthy. It's a compete culture. It's compete.
Here you go. You can give it that way if you want. I'm not giving credit for not quitting. That's not enough for me.
Oh man, that's why
quitting gets you fired because it's such an unacceptable standard.
But it happens in every year to every team that doesn't make the playoffs.
There we go. Agree to disagree, Chop.
I mean, you want somebody? Do you want Jeff Fisher in here?
Yeah,
They'll put the hell on him.
Give me a warm body at head coach next year. I don't care.
Are you? Do you have any more star? I mean, do you have any more?
We can. I mean, we're up here at the. We're pushing it a little bit, so we can save some of those for a little bit later.
All right, there we go. Very nice. It is Bobby Belt.
Plus, I got to go run to the restroom, and we're a 2-man show, so I got to maximize as much time as I can. Chris, make sure this break is long enough.
Cowboys did not give up. All right, they did not give up yesterday, and I guess the question is from the 877-881-1053. Do you respect it or hate it? It sounds like Bobby hates it. It sounds like Bobby hates everything about what the Cowboys are doing right now. But where are you right now, Tolos, Cowboys fans that are out there? Because it sounded like there were some cheers last night when Cowboys did good things last night.
It's tough because I want to watch good football the rest of the year. I just want entertaining football. Win, lose, or draw. I just want to have fun watching the games. But at the same time, whenever you find out, like an hour or two before kickoff, that, hey, you're done. You're not going anywhere. And Jerry's talking on pregame that, it feels like we lost somebody. When I sat down with Mike McCarthy, the emotions, we were just so flat. And it's like, well, Why don't you show me something different then? Because at this point, you're just losing the draft position. I know we've talked about that, the morality of being mad about that versus wanting to win the games. But it's like, what good does 9-8 get you? What good does, the opposite 8-9 get you? I don't know what they want to see. I'm intrigued to ask Stephen Jones, at this point, when there's nothing to gain, what are you looking for? For me, I kind of want to see what some of the other guys have, which I know Mickey Spagnola would tell you, well, they're already playing all the other guys, but guys like you saw Andrew Booth get some reps. What can he give me? Can we get Tyler Guyton to start the whole game at left tackle and see what he gives you? I'm glad that they're trying to an extent where I am seeing some things from some players that I want to see improvement from, but at the expense of bettering your team and, for Bobby Belt's sake, maybe getting your head coach another contract, it might not be the best thing. So I'm kind of 50-50. It's cool to see them win because I don't expect them to win any week. I see them as underdogs every single game they play the rest of the season just because of everything that's happened to this point. But I got to admit, it is kind of cool when you see a team like Tampa Bay, who I think is way better than they played yesterday.
I agree.
I really do. And the way that they shut down Mike Evans, it felt like he was a non-factor for most of the game.
Yeah.
It's like they executed the way they said they did, or they wanted to. You saw Micah Parsons talking with Tony Dungy on the TV broadcast before the game. He said, what's the key to the game? What was your speech this week? And he said, shut down Mike Evans. What did they do? They shut down Mike Evans. So at least they're doing what they say they're going to do. They're backing up their words for the most part. But at this point, I just kind of want to get to the offseason and see what kind of chaos happens.
I can understand that. CA?
It's real simple. They set up McCarthy to fail. And guess what they haven't done? They haven't failed. And when I say they set him up, think about it. If they had done what they normally do in the offseason, which is some everything in team building. Team building is more than just the draft. It's more than just trades. It's more than just signing free agents. It's all of the above. And if you go 12-5, 12-5, 12-5, and we know the disaster would happen in the Green Bay playoff game. We know that was a failure on all levels. But what do? They did nothing. Mm-hmm. So therefore, okay, how can you blame McCarthy for that? And then guess what he starts doing? He starts winning 4 out of the last 5 games. And more importantly, never lost the locker room. If you look at the Jets and you look at the Giants, those organizations are screwed because they don't have cohesion in the locker room. They don't have cohesion with the front office. So in other words, you're able to compare the Cowboys now to some disasters. Had the Cowboys front office gone about business like they normally had, and McCarthy can't get out of the first round like he had in the other 12-5 seasons, he's gone like Garrett. Because it's like, wait a minute, where's the payoff? And see where I say they set him up for failure, and I've been saying it all season long. This team is built wrong. It's built wrong because the assignment for the core group of veterans and the coaching staff is get out of the freaking first round. Mm-hmm. That's been the assignment since Garrett was here. Mm-hmm. Get out of the freaking first round. And McCarthy, by the way, is 1-3 in the playoffs. The only victory is over Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Bucs, where people forget they were 7-8, or 8-9 that year, even though they won that division. But back to the assignment, get out of the freaking first round. They're not built right because guess what you did? You let the depth walk away. Then you did not sign any free agents, Derrick Henry. You didn't do any trades. All you said is we're going to draft and develop. And you drafted guys who you expected to have immediate impact. We're talking about all of them. It doesn't happen. Rookies will be rookies. So you're watching on-the-job training when the assignment for the masses, the core group of veterans, and the coaching staff is get out of the freaking first round. He was set up for failure, and guess what? Now certain fans who like to team build, because team building is a sport, they're all mad because guess what? We don't have our draft position. Mm-hmm. They were better than we expected them to be. That's not McCarthy's fault. That wasn't his assignment. His assignment was to get out of the freaking first round, and then you throw in the injuries too. Mm-hmm. You can't fire that coach when there are not other replacements available who could do that same job.
The way that they played last night, I have a ton of respect for.
You have to.
And it's the toughness of CeeDee Lamb getting out there and, fighting through what he's dealing with. That I respect that. I respect the way that defense was hitting last night. Look, man, that was one of the best defensive efforts I've seen all season
and
from
most
this
of
group.
the big Pro Bowl players are hurt, except for Micah.
And that is part of a bunch of young guys that are looking for it, going, I can get a job. This is my chance to shine. This is my chance to show what I got.
And that's actually part of team building as well, because you have to decide who are guys who can do it, who are guys that are just making business decisions, and who are guys who give a damn.
And then the other part of it, though, is, yes, when it comes to McCarthy's job, which I think should be discussed mostly at the end of the year, but it's been discussed all year long. And it was discussed before the season. We knew it was going to be a big topic all year, but one of the factors is that he was supposed to get out of the first round. He has yet to do that. However, with that package, you said, quarterback who has yet to get out of there with this coach, we're signing you for a long-term deal. Wide receiver who has yet to do that, we're signing you for a long-term deal. But the coach is the one that gets left out. That's a little weird to me. If you've been that successful and still unable to do it while you're keeping one over the other, you're just saying that it's just the coaching constantly, and that's where the blame goes, although those guys have been through a couple of different ones. That being said, last night's effort, I have a ton of respect for. I don't hate it at all. Anybody that's really upset about it right now can be upset about the draft pick part of it. I don't know what it does for them. I don't know what it takes away for them either. I just know that whenever I watch football, I want to see a better product. And last night I got a good product, and that's what I was looking forward to.
One thing real quick about the draft pick, because, again, tanking or trying to get a higher draft pick, that's a strategy. That's just, and it's only a part of the equation.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about all the people who say, man, we could have had a higher pick. How do you know you would have gotten the right pick?
Maybe.
You'd have made the right choice. And let me say this. There's always going to be people who love the process of projecting and the combine. And let me be involved with looking at college guys and saying who I think should be a draft pick. They want to go ahead and move the process forward. Meanwhile, you're forgetting about trades, you're forgetting about free agents, and you're forgetting about who's competitive. You're talking about who can – all of those things are huge. Just to focus only on the draft, you're being selfish. Just like somebody saying, I don't care if the team won or lost. My fantasy guy. I don't care about your fantasy guy.
Obviously, Alec, the discussion of quality opponents over the last 5 games is there. It exists. That conversation is part of it. But Tampa Bay is a potential playoff team right now. And they've been a plucky team all season long that kind of is you were looking at this weeks ago going, I don't know if you can beat Tampa Bay. And now you get this win last night. You can say, oh, well, the groups they've gone up against haven't been that good. There's still 2 more games for the Cowboys to, continue to do that. Still 2 more opportunities for them to go out there and beat Washington, beat Philly, and then you're going to go, well, Washington wasn't even trying. They were already in the playoffs. Philly wasn't trying. They'd already won the division. And so forth. So that part of that conversation is going to exist. At the end of the year is when, if I'm Steven, if I'm Jerry, I sit back and go, okay, what was the most important thing to me? And did they accomplish that thing? Kevin pointed out about a month ago, there was a list of about 4 or 5 things that Jerry had said, we need this. For the most part, you're seeing that they're still competitive. And I think that's what keeps drawing it back to it. Are they coaching them well? They feel better about it. The players that they gave them and the rookies, Tyler Guyton, I know you said you want to see him play a full game. He needs work. And he needs to be able to get past, not lose his confidence before the season's over. That's what I'm hopeful of, is just don't lose the confidence, because you got a lot of work in the offseason. Last night, there were a couple of bad plays from Tyler Guyton. And I expected more out of him coming out of Oklahoma this year. I expected a lot more. Maybe it was too much, though. But I have a ton of respect for the way that the guys on the field put their effort out last night.
I think we all kind of pinned too much expectation really just on the overall first-round draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys every single year.
Makes
just
sense.
because they put themselves in a position, they're so okay with being right on the edge to where they need a guy that can come in and play day one when he's being drafted in the 20s.
Yep.
He's not even a top 10 draft pick, but he is in the first round, so you're saying he's got to be talented enough to go day one. Tyler Guyton is talented enough to go day one. He is not experienced enough to go day one. And that's why I want to see him get these reps. And like you said, Corey, there were some really bad plays from him last night, but how do you correct those? Go out there and remember those mistakes that you made. Add those to your keys. Get screamed at by the offensive line coaches on the sideline after the next possession, and just go fix it. I want to see that. I hate the revolving door of the veteran guy that probably won't even be on the team next year in Chuma Edoga. I want to see a guy that has another 4 years left on this team. And I want to see some of these other guys, even on the defense. Like, I thought you got a lot of good things from Nick Vigil, who he was a guy drafted in 2016 in the third round. He's played on a different team every single year of his career. And I thought he did really good things for you in place of Eric Kendricks yesterday. Is he going to be a franchise cornerstone? No, but I want to see more from him. I want to see more of Maris Taliafoul, which week one, everyone thought was interesting. He was listed as a starter on the depth chart week one, and it's for good reason. He runs around like his hair is on fire. I'm telling you, there's something about guys like that.
Him for his hair.
Well, yes, it is absolutely wonderful. And
So then, because you just named off a bunch of defensive players, and you named off Booth earlier too, then based on this kind of defensive turnaround, you're happy to welcome Mike Zimmer back?
And see, that's what complicates all of this.
At this point, I think he's done enough to where I wouldn't be mad at it. Am I jumping up, clicking my heels? No, but I'm happy because you're getting, one, consistency, and two, he has proven enough to me. Ever since the bye week, it's looked like a different team. I mean, you hear it from Bobby and Broadus all the time. You're seeing Micah Parsons lining up as a defensive tackle, as a true one tech sometimes.
Dude's exhausted too.
And he's exhausted. He's still giving you everything, but you're seeing a willingness from a Micah Parsons to move out of position, to drop back in coverage as a true linebacker over the middle of the formation. You're seeing different looks, the sim pressures. It was funny. I was watching with my buddies at a bar last night, and somebody asked me, he was like, hey, do you want Mike Zimmer back next year? I was like, I really like the sim pressures that he's doing. The very next play, he shows 6 across the defensive line. 2 of them drop back in coverage. Sim pressure. Right as I say, I like the sim pressures that he's running because it's giving offenses different looks that they're not expecting. They do that, and it's an incomplete pass by Baker Mayfield because he was expecting 6, but he actually has everybody in coverage.
And that's what makes this so complicated because, again, everybody likes what they see out of Zimmer now, but back in September, nobody liked what they saw because they were getting blown out and they had all the guys healthy. But guess what they were doing? They were learning a brand new defense. So what complicates, just throw out McCarthy and his coaching staff. Mike Tirico was on with Shan RJ last Thursday, and he broke this down so well because it's more complicated than the average person would think. And that's because, okay, your defensive coordinator, you're buying into it, just like the team's buying into it. Mike has started buying into it because, remember, he's DQ guy, right? He's buying into Zim because Zim had to prove it. It's all working very, very well. As for McCarthy, people are saying, well, McCarthy, he doesn't call the plays well, whatever. Guess what? Last year, when he called the plays, not Kellen Moore, remember, they got rid of Kellen Moore walked, everyone on the side. He started calling the plays. Dak Prescott comes in number 2 in the MVP vote. The offense is top 5 offense, leads the NFL in touchdowns. This is Mike McCarthy calling the plays. No coach is ever going to be perfect unless they win the Super Bowl, and everybody forgets everything you did bad, Andy Reid, in Philadelphia. You see where I'm going with this? The whole point I'm trying to make is you have to see who's still out there. If Bill Belichick were still out there, I'm not saying he's the perfect fit, but it's probably the better fit for a Jerry, because Jerry always says he ain't got time for a bad time. At his age, he's not going to look at some young guy, Ben Johnson up there in Detroit, and let him learn on the job like he did with Garrett. That's not going to happen.
You got a valid point there.
And so you also got to look at, okay, you get rid of McCarthy. If you bring in somebody, are you going to let them bring in their own defensive coordinator, own offensive coordinator, or however you want to do it? There's something to be said on the whole staff. And the fact that McCarthy has a group of players that have yet to quit on him, including the veterans. And the young, again, the whole selling point was get out of the first round. They set the coach up and the team up to not follow that plan. When you said, okay, we're going to look at rookies. Like, you're wanting to see all rookies right now. If going into the season, that's what you thought it was going to be, maybe you'd have more tolerance for what they were doing.
Yeah, they definitely were looking like they were training for somebody else to be coached by them at some point. That was definitely a look that you were getting right there.
Man, the Cowboys get it done last night. That was a fun game. I mean, we'll get to all the things and all the fallout and how the win is kind of a loss in some ways if you don't want McCarthy back and you're fighting for as close of a top 10 pick as you can get. But for 4 quarters, that was a really, really enjoyable
entertaining
football game.
It really was. Yeah, it was very
physical as all heck, too.
Very well played.
People were getting smacked last night, dude.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah, that was. But that's what you're going to get. You're going to get guys that are going to play downhill, going to play with some speed. Trying to, these guys. I mean, you get to this time of year, it's about winning football games. It's about hey, Tampa had a lot to play for, but
Everything.
let's not forget Dallas had a lot to play for too. And I say it in this way of head coach's job, players who are not established. The Brock Hoffmans of the world, the Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis is established, but I'm saying in a way of trying to put that film out there, continue to put film out there that him, Oso Diggy, Dallas is, I think, 26, 27 potential free agents after this season. That's why you're playing hard, because guys are playing for opportunity. This team it's got a lot of young players. It's played young players throughout the year, and those young players are finally showing up for you. Whereas earlier in the season, they really were kind of trying to find their way, but now you're getting some guys playing at a pretty high level. Maris Leofau, rookie guy, they throw him in. He's played some spot plays here and there, but he's been effective around the ball. Did a great job. How about Vigil last night?
Props to him. This
dude doesn't even practice during the week. His foot's bad. He takes a break. He plays on special teams. Tip of the cap to him for him. He goes out there with they're thinking, well, how are you going to replace Eric Kendricks in those 10 tackles? Well, you throw him in the game and he gets 10 tackles, and not against like the New York Giants. It's against it's against a team that's fighting for a playoff spot. So credit to those guys and credit to the staff and credit to the team for getting the job done.
No doubt about it, man. It was a ton of fun. A lot of dudes to show love to. Vigil. I mean, in the pregame when Christie breaks the news that a questionable Eric Kendricks, friend of the show, is not going to be playing in this game, it was like, man, that was.
I don't know how much.
Felt like it was going to be a backbreaker.
I don't know how much Nick Vigil actually gets to practice, because he's every week he's listed as a DNP, and he played last night, played a ton of snaps. And he was able to, the coverage aspect of dealing with those backs, the downhill running game that Tampa plays with, the physicality the front plays with. Man, the front seven did a really nice job of handling that overall.
And now you get the McCarthy stuff. Everybody's wondering, does this inch him closer and closer to a return here in the 6-8-2? How about this one, Broadus? Whoever doesn't want McCarthy back just doesn't know ball.
Yeah.
You need to be talking about Dak coming back. And yes, I know he's under contract. I know, but he's the one we need to be discussing, not McCarthy.
Yeah. See, this
that one's already come and gone. Hey, we did that, and unfortunately,
that's
we're sleeping in that bed now.
Yep, that's the decision that was.
But we don't have to sleep in the McCarthy bed. There's plenty of other beds out there. Everybody wants to act like, where are you going to upgrade? That's my favorite one, is like, where are you immediately going to snap your fingers as if you're just, hey, where can you just conjure up immediately a better coach than McCarthy? As if there's just nothing else out there. There's this vast land of football coaches all over the world, and you think the guy that's sitting here in your living room just happens to be the best one. You can't upgrade. I mean, how about the idea that you never really know? Coaches are getting hired all over the place, and sometimes it's a big-name coach. Oh, that's definitely going to work out. Boom, nope, he S's the bed. Or vice versa, and you're Doug Peterson, and you're 10th on the list for the Eagles that year. Who are we going to hire? I guess we'll just have to go with this Peter. Nobody else wants to do it. Okay, we'll go Doug Peterson. Well, everybody just pans it. Worst hire of the offseason. Next thing you know, he's beating Bill Belichick with Nick Foles in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You have no idea. But one thing you do know after a 5-year sample size of where you're at with McCarthy, think you have a pretty good idea. It's awesome that he's doing the admirable thing of winning games when there's no expectations and dragging a bunch of undrafted free agents to, instead of a top 5 pick, a top 15 pick. Awesome, dude. We see that all the time.
Yeah.
That's not why you're here. You've shown when you've had good teams and just the easiest spoon-fed opportunity to get to at least the conference title game, and your team you're deer in the headlights, dude. The Green Bay, the Packers game should have been it, but they wanted to just run it back. Okay, fine, but this is not enough to say, okay, this is our guy. Let's re-up him. It's not like, hey, we're keeping him around for one more year. It's the last year of his deal. This is, are you going to hand him a 4-year contract now?
Sure.
You're going to get remarried. You're going to renew your vows?
Oh, no. That's exactly what they're thinking about right now. You know? And I don't disagree with anything you say. To me, I see a front office that looks extremely comfortable with the head coach they currently have. And they're okay with the fact right now that they're 7-8 and they're playing at a very, they're winning football games. Because, winning football games and drafting, going down the draft a little bit, by the way, probably a little bit less money you have to spend on a draft pick, right?
Wow. They're penny pinching like that.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean think
if
about
that's even a conversation of like, well, hey, good news is a little bit less for the first round rookie. He's not slotted at 12. He's slotted at 16. Save us about a $250,000 maybe. Yeah. Give me a break.
I'm just, hey, bro. Just
but I'm with you. I think that's real.
I think it's
my frustrations aren't with you. You're a Super Bowl champion.
And I'm proud of it, by the way. The thing about it is though with McCarthy, I hear everything you're saying, and I don't think they're thinking the same way you are. I think they're good with the 12 wins a season. I don't think they're good with the playoffs being a problem. I don't think they're good with that. But they're seeing the team playing hard, and they're seeing the way they're finishing games, and they're seeing how he gets ready on short week.
We're just watching the organization year after year just take that bar that used to be up at the top of the mountain and just new standard. Yeah. Okay, new standard. All right, now as long as those guys aren't quitting on you, maybe we'll hand you a 4-year extendo.
Sure. Yeah.
That's tough. But it's a happy time of year. What am I doing? I need to be happy right now.
I went from being like zero chance of him being here to like.
Yeah, you were at a bagel about 6 weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Are you up to 1%? You up to 10%?
I have not changed my thought, but I have a feeling I know how this movie's going to end. I have a feeling I know how this movie's going to end.
And it's not the way you want it to.
Why fight it anymore? Why fight it? Hey, if you think this much about this guy and all the things that he's done, and I said it last night on the postgame show, sign him to an extension. Yeah. Go ahead. Sign him to an extension. If you're coming out and you're having this embrace and patting him on the chest and all this stuff, and if you feel this way, I just don't think the Joneses want to go through another search. I don't think they want to go through the process.
As if they have this exhausting search every time. It's always like, here's Jason Garrett. He was down the hall. Can you go grab him? He's got a new office now. Can you let him know? Right. I don't even think Jerry had to pick up the phone to do that.
No.
He probably didn't even have to stand up out of his chair to walk down and inform him. Mike McCarthy was just a one-night sleepover, break some bread, and boom, there's our guy.
Yeah. I just don't think they want to go through a search. I really don't.
No, I'm with you. They don't. And like you said, they're comfortable. And Steven just talked about, hey, it's going to be another one of those tighten up the belt kind of off seasons. We don't want to have to sell another coach, and it's a pain in the rear end to let them know, like, hey, this is how we manage our cap. I know a lot of teams do it other ways.
This is how we draft.
Yeah.
This is how we bottom fish. This is how we let players go and then go get other ones. We kind of, McCarthy knows the drill. You're going to bring somebody in here that's going to like, wait, you're going to do what? You're going to do why? What?
McCarthy's like, wait, we're not doing anything this offseason? Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
My offense is still the same from 30 years ago, so everybody knows it.
Kind of par for the course.
Yeah.